Hello and good morning, guys. This is Andy McCann coming to you from Woodstock, Georgia, where I own CrossFit Garage. I am not a doctor, but I am a guy in his 50s that is literally dealing with cholesterol like all the other men out there. So this podcast, many times, what happens is you guys talk to me and I get the same conversation point. I guess, I don't know why it came up now, but I get the same conversation point, I don't know, like 10 times in a month. So this podcast is for Charlie, Glenn, Denny, and Mike, and oh man, there's like 3 more of you guys. This is literally for you. Can I change your mind? No. Do I want you to listen to me? I mean, listen, sure. Take action? I mean, it's up to you. It's your life. But I know this, that statistics don't care about you. Statistically, when you gamble, you are going to lose to the house. The best thing you can do, I think Tom Vasey said this, the best game is roulette because there's 100 numbers. 2 of them are green, the rest are red and black. So you have like a 48% chance to win, and that's the best. But if you did that, if you played that game over and over and over to the end of time, you would lose your money at a rate of 2% because, well, it maybe not work out exactly like that, but statistics don't care. So the biggest problem is I got my buddies saying, well, I feel fine. I look fine. Women love me or whatever, right? And I love me. But what they don't know is what's going on the inside, because what we're doing is eating things that aren't even food. So apparently now the old ice cream sandwiches that we'd eat as kids and those other drumstick ones, I thought they were disgusting, but that little wrapped waffle cone thing with the chocolate topper, they don't even melt. So someone did buy a bunch of them from Publix, put them on the counter and see which ones melt, and then put them in an oven at like 80 degrees or 100 degrees or something, and they didn't melt. So we're eating stuff that doesn't really, it's not even food. What happens is the food makers, which is so dumb, you can make food. I made it with chemicals. That's not food. That's poison, actually. I mean, there's nothing food about it. But what they do is they find the ultimate bliss point for your tongue. Hey, Andy, it's okay if I eat chips. Man, I don't care. You're a damn grown adult. You do what you want. But if you're going to eat the standard American diet, you're going to get the standard American diseases. And for men, when you turn 50, the statistics say our death rate goes up by 400%, and it moves from suicides and accidents, which, hey, suicides, that's Jamie Thomas. You got to talk to her. Accidents, hey, that's having a fun life. If your accidents are like, hold my beer, let's go do this thing, I don't know, enjoy life. But, I mean, don't be stupid. And then it moves into heart attacks and strokes by 400%. So something happens to us. What? I have no idea. But we turn 50 and we start to die off. My job right now is to help you see what's happening and understand these things. So the doctor says, the other thing I don't want you to do, the doctor's going to be like, hey, you have a problem, here's a pill. Okay, yeah, maybe. And I'm not saying that you shouldn't take a pill. What I'm saying is that it's not always the answer you think it is, and they don't always tell you what's the other problems behind it, and they assume you can't. And for many of you, you literally can't. It's like, why do teenage girls not hang out or only hang out in even or odd numbers? It's because they can't, right? No, they can't even. That's what I blew that joke. Why do teenage girls always hang out in odd packs? Because they can't even, and you wave your hair and toss your head. Anyway, they know that you're not going to do the things that you should do, or they assume so. And the answer is actually they're usually correct. Most people won't. I've asked my buddies, hey, if you knew that eating a certain way would cure your thing, would you do it? And they're like, for how long and what? I don't know. I'm okay dying early. I'm like, all right, well, that's weird, but okay. All right, so today's conversation, it is about cholesterol mostly and what the doctors are going to tell you at 50 and how to stop dying early. Whew. I haven't really thought of a good title for this podcast, but it'd be something like, you feel fine until you're dead. LDL, ApoB, cholesterol, and the drop dead years. Something like that. I'll probably get creative, or maybe I'll ask ChatGPT to give me something that doesn't sound as... So I've got some leading causes from the CDC, but basically it's heart disease, but I'm going to go through those leading causes, and it just sucks that it's like stuff we could take care of, and we don't. I mean, there always has to be a leading cause. When you take statistics or you take numbers, something rises to the top, and it just happens to be right now. It's heart disease of some sort, and that actually is a lot of stuff. Now, when I get there, you're going to be, actually, I'll just pop right over to it now. Come on. Why do I care the order in which we go in? So it's heart disease at almost 700,000, cancer 600,000, unintentional injuries 200,000, strokes 160,000, chronic respiratory disease 150,000. So heart disease is pretty big up there. Now, the thing that I was going to tell you is a lot of these, if you match it together, you're like, hey, something's wrong with your blood. Heart disease, strokes are, some sort of mess up in your system, right? That circulatory system. So that would put it up to 900,000, which would be twice pretty much everything else. Cancer's up there. Now, here's a weird one. I'm not doing a podcast on cancer right now, but my brother, Charlie, I bet you think this podcast is about you. It is. My brother took his kid's dog to the vet, and the vet said, hey, your dog has lymphomic cancer. He's going to die. The best thing we can do is just put him under because this is bad. And he said, hey, how about instead of putting him under chemo and all that, I'm going to go home and try these other things because if you say he's screwed anyway, why not try him? So weirdly, he changed his diet, completely went to, I think he's using human grade beef. That's it. And the dog is tiny. It's like, I don't know, like a 5-pound dog. It's maybe more than 5 pounds. It's not an Ollie. I've got 160-pound dogs. If I try to feed him human ground beef, actually, I should do that. I fed my dogs a deer, and the three of them ate everything out of a deer in 1 week. So they eat a lot of meat. And there's maybe not as much on a deer as you would think. Anyway, he had actually, I'm going to pull this up what he did because it is fascinating. All right, here's a text he sent our sibling group. So I've got 4 siblings and we throw shit in there to talk trash in for funs and love. So he said, the dog's name is Benji. So good news. Benji it might be too early to say this for sure. I hate reading out loud is my nemesis. And so reading this text is not going to be easy for me. Maybe put my glasses on to do this. Whew, okay. But I think the parasite cleanse, so yeah, cancer and parasites. What? Man, I don't know. I don't ever study that stuff, but apparently ivermectin and stuff kind of works. So anyway, a parasite cleanse, the change of his diet and prayer is curing him from cancer. From 60 mg steroids down to 10 every 2 weeks. I'm about to switch it to 5 milligrams to keep reducing it till he's off. Then we'll know after a month how he's actually doing, but he seems to be doing well. So this is already like later on and the dog's alive. So he even told the vet's like, well, your dog's going to die really soon if you do what you're going to do. And he's like, well, he's going to die really soon anyway. So might as well try something new, right? So plus, I think like dog chemo is like $10,000. So anyway, he's like, yeah, let me try this stuff. So he went online, he went on chat, and he went on other AIs, and he said, hey, give me the best protocols that you've seen out there. What are some things that could possibly work that I could do here for him? And so he did those things. Let's see, was investigating parasites for cancer, and they believe that the same. So he said, it's worth doing a parasite cleanse. So he has it all documented. If you want it, let me know, and I'll try to get it over to you. Let's see what else he put on there. So ivermectin, vitamin B, and some other stuff. What else on there? Yeah, so, and something called fenbizidol. I don't know how to say these words. So, and he did some active charcoal. Yeah, so anyway, he's doing these things that he's seen, I guess he's seen other humans do, or maybe it was dogs. And so he's trying it with his dog, and the dog is doing great. So he's basically taking other people's paths to say, hey, I tried this and it seemed to work. You might want to consider it. And it did. So what does that mean? I don't know. Is cancer a parasite? Man, I have a hard time believing that because I don't know, for so long, they're like, let's cure cancer. And they've never once said it's a parasite. So I don't know, but I have heard things like, Americans think we don't have parasites, but all the food we eat, we do. Most other cultures do parasite cleanses, except we don't. Why? I don't know. Anyway, okay, back onto blood. All right, another thing that sucks about this is statistically, over 50% of men who die from heart disease, the first symptom was death. So that really sucks. It's not like, you can go and do things, but even all the tests and stuff don't always add up unless you do like I mean, you could go and get an invasive one on the big artery, the one that feeds blood to your heart. So this is a weird one. Your heart has its own artery that pulls blood out of the chamber and then feeds it to itself. You would think, well, wait a minute, the blood is pumping the heart. Why doesn't it just take from that? Nah, I don't know. I guess you don't rob from Peter to pay Paul. That's not the way it works. And so what happens is that guy gets clogged up. Now, it doesn't really, this is an interesting one. Your veins are expandy and your arteries can expand and flex. And so when you do have buildup, they flex out to keep the flow the same. And then eventually it tears. And usually what they say what happens is the blood clots there on the tear. And that creates the blockage. Is that exactly it? Man, I don't know. This is just the stuff that I've heard and I've watched. All right. So this is for all my buddies in their 50s plus. Seeing they get a bad doctor report, their total cholesterol number is up, maybe at 300. I actually have my own blood work. So I told Glenn, I think my blood work was 300. And there it is right there. Total cholesterol, 308. So does that matter? I mean, yes, but also not really. It depends. It depends what you're doing, right? I'll get into that. I feel like I've done this podcast a lot, but it keeps coming up. And I'm going to send this to you guys. Hopefully you listen to it. I don't know. Maybe you won't. I care a lot. So I do these things. If I didn't care, then whatever. I would just say, well, I hope and pray that you are better. Bye-bye, right? But I do. And so I make these things. So hopefully you get a little piece of information, something sticks, and you go off and take it for the rest of your life to go do a change, right? So maybe your cholesterol's up, your LDL is through the roof, your ApoB is flagged high, but you feel okay. You move, you work, you mow the lawn, you maybe even do some CrossFit here and there. So what's going on? Is it a problem? Hey, man. I would listen to the doctor for the checks, for sure. I would take a moment to say, hey, instead of a pill, what would you suggest that I do about my lifestyle and my diet? If they say, well, you can't fix it like that, I go find another doctor because it is true. You got there because of your dumb choices. You can get out slowly from your dumb choices. Okay, so total cholesterol being 300, is that a problem? It's a flag. Does it tell the whole story? No, not at all. This is why you need to go and do things like the advanced lipid study where they take your LDL and they put it under a microscope. So most of them are like, hey, LDL is bad. Like I was talking to Glenn. We were fixing his lake house, adding some lights and some electro outlets, and we're talking about cholesterol. And either he was humoring me and saying, yes, Andy, you're an idiot. I already know that. Or you're wrong or whatever. Or it's the first time I heard it. I don't know. But he sat there in silence. So I baffled him with science. So what is LDL? LDL, the LD stands for low density and then lipid particle, right? So LDL carries cholesterol or is a cholesterol. So actually, let me say it a different way. It's an act of your liver to produce cholesterol, and then this gets transported around your body. So what it's going to do is your body needs cholesterol for its cell membranes, its hormones, its bile acid, which, interesting, Evan. I know when people get sick and like Evan had a Crohn's diagnosis, they tell him, hey, take some HCl because it's super expensive for your body to make. So that bile acid, I wonder if that's part of that. And to produce vitamin D, right? We actually make our own. So too much cholesterol, LDL cholesterol, especially when you combine it with some sort of inflammation or high blood pressure or insulin resistance or smoking or poor sleep or stress, that can contribute to something bad. So what's happening that's bad? LDL is not bad. If I see a picture of LDL, good and bad, it might help. Okay, well, they wouldn't give me a picture except some blue and yellow dots, which they're not blue and yellow dots. But LDL, they want it to be large and buoyant. Think of a sponge. If your system is screwed up, then the LDL, I don't know why, but it will, I guess, die and it becomes small and dense like a golf ball. The small and dense ones are the ones that are going to get collected. So what happens to that cholesterol? Where does it go and how does it get rid of it? So part of the process is the HDL goes out, the good cholesterol goes out and removes the bad cholesterol and brings it back to the liver. So HDL, it does some other stuff, but HDL's primary job is to clean up. So think of your LDL as the suckerfish. Yes, I feel like I said these words. LDL is the suckerfish on the wall of the tank, And let me pause real quick and see if I literally just did this podcast for you guys. Man, I haven't, but these words sound familiar. You can tell I say the same things every day to people. I probably talked about it in the How Do I Lose Fat episode, but anyway. So HDL is going to, it doesn't magically clean up anything or fix anything. That's its job. That's what it does. So if you have, actually, let me go back to my blood work and look at this. So this is a year into eating carnivore. My total cholesterol went from 227 to 308. It's high. Interesting right here, right? My HDL went from 80 to 93. So it did not go up similarly. My LDL went from 140 to 200. So it went up a lot. That's because I'm only eating protein and fat. The transport system for fat as an energy is LDL. But when you do the advanced lipid study, they're like, wow, all your particles are super small. So there's this, I know some of you guys, if you're listening to this, you can't see it, but it says LDL size. So what do they say in there? LDL and HDL particle percentile in reference to the population. So this is another bad one that I don't like. I don't like it when we refer to the population because I think most of the population is sick. And I'd rather have my stuff referred to against other CrossFitting humans. Like actually, Dave said, Andy, I want to create some stats to aim for in CrossFit. Help me with these numbers. And so that's actually a great idea. I love it. I've considered these things too. How can I test you guys year after year? So we have some tests. Are they the best and the most awesomest? Nah, it's just ones that I thought would fit in really well. But I think what I told him was, it's not that I would try to like increase your back squat year after year after year. I mean, yes, I would, but I'm at a point now where I did peak out on my strength and I don't focus on it to keep it going because I'm greedy. I want everything. And so I do all the other things, which means my back squat total number goes down. Now my strength is still there. I can still rep out a lot of heavy ones if I want to, just my 1 rep max has gone down. I don't really care about that. I don't usually do 1 rep maxes anyway because catastrophe lies on the side of failure with that. But what I did tell him was I would go onto like the CDC or something and find the average number for those things for humans. Like what's the average? Actually, let me type that in there. What's the average back squat for a 50-year-old man? See if it says anything. And then I would aim for those things to be better than the average because it turns out in a lot of these things I do, like the Nusha said, hey, tell me about VO2 max. Basically, if you're just better than the average, the good stuff is great. So the reward for being a little bit above average pays off tremendously. But if you're super awesome, then the reward isn't really there and you have to focus too much. So they say an elite a specific age of 50s includes elite would be almost 2 times their body weight. I wanted the average though. That's not what I was looking for. Let me read this real quick. Okay, it doesn't actually have a statistic. It says there isn't really one because those that want to do the number actually lift. So you would need everybody to go out and just back squat to see. But they said you should aim for 1.5 times your body weight. I wish there was an average. I bet you I could ask ChatGPT and it would find some sort of average for me. But anyway, so I told him, hey, go look at those numbers and just be above average and then keep pursuing it and keep moving. But I don't know if I would say like, I personally need to make 1 more pound an improvement in my back squat. I think it's more important that I'm doing the back squat and proper range of motion. So then the questions became like, hey, what about mobility and stuff? So great questions, Dave. Well done. I love that stuff. I wish more people would ask the question. Of course, I suppose ChatGPT, you can just jump on there and it would just tell you all like, hey, these are your solutions and your problems. Okay. So then you have something called ApoB. What does that mean? So in a nutshell, it's like a genetic particles. So it's LDL, VDL, the other remnants, IDL, and more. And what your body has inside of it in terms of like delivery trucks. So I guess that's not a great analogy, but kind of. So if your body has too many of delivery trucks, then it can bang up into the arterial walls, and that makes your risk go up. So are they necessarily bad? No. But if your walls suck, then you're going to have damage. So kind of like, I guess, like if they want to clean out a septic system, they'll shoot a pig down the line. So the pig is usually just some sort of wad of thing that they pull through and it dislodges all the whatever, right? So That's not what this guy's doing, but if you have too much of it, then it's going to bang into things and possibly create tears and problems. A reason they look at it is they're finding a relationship between the amount of ApoB and the plaque-forming particles, which would be kind of like the small and dense LDL. So it's better than saying, hey, what's just your cholesterol number? Okay, so then another number, they're like, hey, my triglycerides are high. What does that mean? So this is a number that they look at for metabolic health. Metabolic health is your ability for your body to transform food into energy, metabolism. How healthy is it, right? So it can be affected by a lot of things, but they're looking at like your carb tolerance. So my tolerance currently is 0. I don't eat any. Actually, my tolerance could still be there. My use case for it is 0. Alcohol, I don't drink alcohol. So there's that. Insulin resistant. So here's a weird one. I have a high insulin number, and Kennedy looked at me and she's like, yeah, I don't know. I would normally tell you to get some regular exercise and stop eating sugars and refined carbs. And she looked at me, raised an eyebrow. She's like, but I already know you do those things. And then she said, are you sure you don't have cheat meals? So here's how I feel about cheat meals. They're sabotage meals. You don't cheat, you sabotage yourself. You're going down the road of awesome, and then you literally just cheat on your spouse. There's nothing good about it. So cheating, a cheat meal, you're like, oh, that was fun, that was good. Cheating on your spouse isn't, well, I guess it could be fun, but it's not good. And I mean, it shouldn't be fun, but you know what I'm saying. Nothing good comes from cheating. So cheat meal, it's a sabotage meal. Don't do that, right? Stay away from the fun stuff because it's probably not even food anymore. Anyway, it's also tied to like, how's your liver? Is it healthy? What's it doing? And then your overall energy balance. So they do look at that. The specific tie is more of a generality. Hey, these are the things we see. There's a lot of flags they've created to check things out. Does it mean you have a problem or that specific thing is going to kill you? No. It says that, hey, these things are adding up to show a picture that I don't like. Then there's the genetic risk marker, something that you can't change. I think it's the LPA that this is just what your body is generating. And typically they say, hey, if you have a higher one, it raises your risks for cardiovascular disease. Do I know this for sure? No, I'm just saying this is what they look at. What does it actually do? I don't even know. I just know that it's on the report. Typically, if they do all that stuff, they're like, hey, you're in jeopardy. We do recommend you get a CAC score. So it's a coronary artery calcium scan. Essentially, they sit you in something that kind of looks like a big ring, like you're going into an MRI machine, but just like from the waist up. They hit you with all these nodes, and then the machine goes whomp. I think if I remember right, I held my breath for 90 seconds while it pulsed, something like that. And I got a score of 0. You definitely want to go do that. There is another scan you can get, which I don't remember what it's called. And I would suggest doing that. I think way back in the day, Neil Bortz's sidekick, Royal Marshall, died from heart disease. And they said, had he just got his heart checked, and I don't remember what it's called. It might be this CAC score. I don't know. But it was something that you can go and do. So I think I don't have insurance. I have catastrophe insurance. And the out-of-pocket, I think it was less than $200 to get this thing tested. So if you're a 50-year-old man, go treat yourself. Get this thing tested. And of course, now I need to pause you guys and get more coffee. Okay, so LDL isn't evil by itself. There's a lot of things that actually have to happen. Cholesterol isn't poison. They're like, oh no, cholesterol, lower your cholesterol. You need cholesterol. If you had none in your body, you would be dead, right? So the problem can be if I have too much, or it's too malformed, or I have too many trucks crashing into walls. So those are the things you need to know. The unfortunate part is, well, I guess this is good. Your body is very resilient, and it'll try its best to fix itself, and then all of a sudden it can't. So you're poisoning it enough that your vehicle, your body is like, you screwed me up, I'm out. So nobody, I don't think anybody in the history of history has ever said, I can't wait until I turn 50 so I can be on 3 or 4 prescription drugs. I just don't think that's true. Yet, we won't do the things we should to stay off those drugs. Like, oh, I'm fine, I'm good. No, statistically, you're doing what every average person does. You're going to get the same results, which is really sucky. You need to move. You need to not eat like a death row inmate. So it's how you eat, think, sleep, move, and connect. You need those things, not necessarily in that order, but you need those things. Okay. So what would happen if you removed all cholesterol from your body. You don't want a zero cholesterol score. Your body needs it to live. The goal wouldn't be to eliminate cholesterol. It's to reduce the dangerous stuff that cause like cardiovascular disease. So your brain is cholesterol. Your transport system for fat as an energy is cholesterol. The repair system of your body is going to be cholesterol. So what they're trying to do is lower your cholesterol, but sometimes these drugs have side effects. Like I've even heard, I don't know if this is true. I mean, I don't know if any of this is true. What do I know? I'm not even a doctor. Don't listen to me. I'm a retard. You should go do your own. I guess that's the big thing I'd want you to do. Go do your own research. Figure this shit out. Just don't listen to somebody who spent 5 minutes with you, looked at you and said, yeah, well, let's just put you on a statin. I'm just saying, ask more questions. And if they don't like them, find somebody else. Michael Skardassis is a doctor up the street in Town Lake. He does concierge medicine. That guy's awesome. Go to him. That's where I typically go when I need something done. I don't even have a primary. He would be my primary doctor, but I don't really have one. You have to actually go to have a primary doctor. I don't go very often. I do get the blood work done though. Okay, so I'm going to toss out a bunch of ideas for you on what you can do for cholesterol. I mean, and this stuff would affect almost everything else, but it's going to be cholesterol focused. But yeah, I mean, these are just healthy things you can do. So the doctors, the medical industry, the whoever should tell you lifestyle matters. So lose your visceral fat. So the fat sticking out on your belly, right out, in front where your belt buckle is, right? It's not just storage. It's doing something to you. So you need to remove that. So lose the visceral fat, right? How do you do that? I mean, there are so many. Actually, a matter of fact, I did do that podcast. That was on April 20th. How do I lose fat? Here's the funny thing. I don't know if I ever actually said, how do you lose fat? But my answer to it was really, if you're still having problems this late in life trying to control your weight, damn it, hire somebody. Golly, the people will spend money for their kids to do gymnastics 8 hours a day or club soccer. I did it. The kid math I did on club soccer on the back of a napkin was I spent about $80,000 on kid soccer in the span of how long did they play? I suppose like 20 years of soccer. Man, take some of that money, spend it on yourself. Hire a coach to teach you. Hire Coach Josiah, Coach Matt, Coach Jennifer. I think even, there's two, Aaron and Carly are in that world as well. So potentially hire them. Hire somebody to help you because you don't know, because you're not an idiot. You just don't know. So go hire somebody. Oh, you know what? I never went through the actual other causes of death. Yeah. So on that list that I didn't finish was Alzheimer's, diabetes, and I don't even know how to say that word. Nephritis. Nephritis. And then liver disease, and then suicide's on the list. But like the big ones are heart disease and cancer are like 700 and 600,000 respectively. So what can you do about those? I mean, just how you eat, sleep, move, think, and connect is pretty much all of those. The only one that I'd say that doesn't work well there is type 1 diabetes. I think that's a genetic marker for diabetes, and it's hard to do anything about that one. I mean, I'm sure there are things you can do. I haven't really studied it, but there's that. Okay, so other things you can do. You can lift weights. Wait, why would I lift weights? Isn't running better? So this is the weird thing. Not really. Yes, they're both good. Which one's more gooder? I don't know. But lifting weights has when you do cardio, you do the work and then you're done and you rest. Probably the biggest thing you get out of that is your heart rate will drop for sure. When you lift weights and you build muscle, your muscle is going to demand materials and it's just going to simply improve that metabolic health. So I'm doing something in my metabolism. I'm burning more things, right? Daily walk. So if you go out and walk, I would suggest this. If you can time it, eat, and then within 30 minutes, go out for at least a 10-minute walk. I do that all the time with my dogs. Typically, I'm at home for lunch or, dinner, yeah, of course. And I will, after eating, walk the dogs. Now, I'm in Georgia, so this fluctuates. If it's like August 15th, I'm walking the dogs at 7 a.m. because by like 9 a.m., there is sweat pouring out of every crevice that you've got. So it's just, you need to fix that one, right? Or figure that one out. So fix your sleep. When I say fix your sleep, what do I mean there? I mean that you should, now everybody's body is different. But typically it's 8 hours of sleep. So it's how you eat, sleep, move, think, and connect. Sleep is in there. It's how much sleep are you getting, and are you getting restful sleep? So I would start with wake up at 5 a.m., go to bed at 10. Wake up at 5 a.m., go to bed at 10. Wake up at 5 a.m., go to bed at 10. 3 days of that, you're going to figure out like, no, I feel rested. I don't feel rested, right? And then what I would do is still wake up at 5 a.m. because everything gets done better at 5 a.m. Go look up the Homer Simpson episode where he wakes up at 5 and goes to work. Then he gets all the donuts, all the hot coffee, and promoted and all that just by waking up at 5 a.m. It's true. It's true. And go to bed on time. So I would adjust the bedtime earlier to make sure you could still get up. Get 8 hours of sleep. Buy a sleep device, a Whoop or whatever, to see how you're sleeping, because you could be sleeping like crap. So I have a podcast on sleep, actually. Let's see. Sleep. Yeah, it's episode 67, 18-ish actions to fix your sleep. I think I said ish because I added several more right at the end outside of my outline. I don't even, in 2023, did we have AI that could make us an outline? I think the answer is no. Reduce your alcohol. Man, if it were me, I just wouldn't drink alcohol. There's really nothing to it. It's a feeling that you get from your tongue being an asshole. It's like, if you think, well, to have a good time, I must have a drink. I don't know. I think you're broken. I think there's something wrong with that. You should be able to have a good time without taking a drink. What is this? I get Facebook and X options. Oh, that's for Buzzsprout. Sorry. Me and tangents. We're friends. Reduce your alcohol. So especially if your triglycerides are high, it's going to affect your liver. So just help your liver be better. Don't drink that stuff. Check your blood pressure. There's machines that do it. I actually recommended, I've recommended this thing so many times. Anyway, if you go to Amazon and just put in at-home blood pressure, it'll give you a device that you can use to check. I think checking while in bed is the best way to do it. So you just woke up, you grab the device, you put it to your arm because you are super rested. So that'll give you an opportunity to see. And then check it at night before going to bed. I just had a full day of activity. What does it look like? And start comparing. If you have the device, use the device. Make some charts and figure it out. Whew. Now, another one is like, just testing these things as you make changes. How often should you do blood work? I mean, if you go to Anytime or Quest Labs, or let me look that up. Is it Quest Labs? Quest Diagnostic Corporation. So I just want to find, what does it cost for a normal blood workup? Make an appointment, get results, pay a bill. Let's see. I don't know if Quest is the one that does it. Maybe it's the Any Labs, or I feel like that's the one I went to. Get tested. How about that? Make appointment, find testing conditions, prepare for a test. That's not the right one. There was one. Let me go find it for you. Any Lab. That's it. That's the one I've used before. Look, it even knows me. Hey, Andy, do you want to come back and see us? So let's see. General health. Let's see if I can find one. Yeah, choose a test. That's what I wanted to do. And they give you prices on it. So there's one in here like the standard man test. So the annual panel, $130. High sensitive C reactant protein, diabetes, glucose. Let's see. I feel like there was one called the men study. The might be man, not men. Men's Health GPX General Panel. Yeah. $530. No doctor visit. You just walk in, you do this thing. It does a whole bunch of stuff. Actually, does it list it out? I'm sure it does somewhere. Learn more about this test. No, it just dropped me to the bottom. That's awesome. What's included? I'd love to see what was included. But anyway, they have these things you can go do. How often? I mean, I would say that you should get your blood work done when you feel great. So you have a baseline of awesome. Obviously, you're going to get stuff when you feel bad, but get it when you feel great. That way you have a baseline of, this is where my numbers are when I'm really good. There's a lot of tests that you can do in here. Actually, all of these, the ApoB, LPA, fasting insulin, actually, and there's a good one right there. I had a guy send me an email about his insulin test. I was like, well, did you do it fasting? He's like, yes. I said, well, tell me what you did and what you consider to be fasting. He said, well, I drank coffee with heavy cream. I'm like, well, I mean, I don't know what you think the word fasting means, but that's not fasting. So he's like, oh, well, I didn't know that. I'm like, well, I mean, okay, so go redo it, but this time actually fast. Oh, man. So what they're going to want to do is give you a statin. Statins, they lower your cholesterol by telling your liver to produce less cholesterol. So you're producing less LDL. Is it the best thing to do? I don't know. It's a thing. Like I said, I'm not a big fan of the GLP-1s, the Ozempics and all that. But if you're 400 pounds and you're going to have knee surgery and they're like, you should lose weight, I mean, I guess take it. So solve the biggest problem first. Now, it sucks to create more problems, but it's better to get the big thing done, right? So if you don't know what your big thing is, ask your spouse. They'll tell you, well, you're just a jackass. Fix that. Or ask a friend. They'll probably tell you what you need to fix. I guess what I would say is don't be the guy that refuses medication because you heard a podcast. I'm not saying that at all. But I'm also saying don't be the guy that just takes a pill because the doctor in the coat said so. I don't know. They also said everyone should take this jab. It turns out they were wrong. And they're like, shit, we just might have caused cancer and things in people. I don't know if that's true. I do wear a tinfoil hat on some things. But I choose my conspiracies carefully. Okay, well, I uploaded some blood work information into ChatGPT. I asked my Brave browser, hey, what's the number of doctor or hospital-caused death? So there's an estimate of 200 to 400,000 deaths a year from just going into the hospital and like they get something wrong. So dude, that sucks. So let's just take the middle number of 310. Let's go 310. So 310,000 would make it the third leading cause of death is actually going to the hospital. Now, would you have died without going to the hospital? Possibly. And these other numbers have gone up. So they might have messed up, but that's insane. The thing that's trying to keep us alive, the hospitals and doctors and so forth, are the third leading cause of death in America. That's insane. Okay, so what I wanted to show you with this is you can take your blood work, drop it into an AI and say, give me some ideas and talk to me about this. And you can have a conversation with it as long as you want about your stuff. So I just did that. I took 3 years and a Cologuard test and threw it in there and said, hey, talk to me about this. What insights can you pull out and what can I share? So I've got, my cholesterol is high. But is it a problem? And that's really what you want to know is like, should I be triggering off of these? So my HDL has gone from 66 to 90 over the years. Triglycerides from 60 to 90. My triglycerides to HDL ratio is roughly 1 or less. My glucose was 104 and it's dropped to 94. That's interesting, right? It's still pretty high though, right? Even though I don't eat any of that stuff, your body will make glucose because if you don't have glucose, your brain doesn't work. My testosterone, at one point, so my testosterone has always been low. I went and measured it one time when I started drinking coffee, and I did an experiment on coffee that when I started drinking coffee back during the 2020 days and got tested, my cholesterol went from like, usually I was low in the like 400s, 300s, went up to 800. And so now it's back down to about 500. But weirdly, coffee has increased my testosterone because I have done a test. You can go back and look. What was that podcast if you want to get it all? Let's see. Coffee. It's probably coffee and testosterone. No. Using habits to remove coffee, caffeine, and the struggles. Now let's put in how do you spell testosterone? Testosterone? Something like that? Oh, did I not make an episode of that? Testosterone. I'm sure I did. Oh, well, I podcast about everything. Okay, what else I want to show you on here? That my ApoB 146 is very high. So it's just telling me numbers. I asked it to give me some insight. Where's my insight? Oh, the big picture. Here we go. So lean mass hyper-responder. That's what they call me, a lean mass hyper-responder, which that's interesting. I wonder what that actually means. So the typical pattern for my people, the lean mass hyper-responders are high LDL over ApoB, high HDL, low triglycerides, lean and active. Yep, that sounds like me. The real debate, what comes up? Like what are the risks? Well, it comes down to, it's telling me particle size, plaque over time events. So camp number 1. Camp number 2, the carnivore low carb guys, that's me also. So this is interesting. It's like context matters. Like, how are you eating? Well, I am a carnivore guy. I'm low carb. I'm so low carb, I think it's like 1 or less a day. Well, come on, give me some more interesting stuff. Chat. Okay, I love this. It said, it's not black or white. Carnivore, I will tell you, carnivore isn't perfect. I don't think I would tell anybody to actually do this. It is very restrictive and not very convenient in terms of eating out with people. Now, actually making my own food and eating it is very convenient. It's super easy. The other thing I would tell you is LDL doesn't kill you. So it's not LDL specifically, it's the other stuff. So yes, chat, well done. Well, it didn't do me right. I wanted some more things, but some things that it did pull out, it said, hey, make sure you ask, are you lean and active? Are you overweight and insulin resistant? What's your family history? So I agree. Those are good things you should know. We've already talked about this. Consider the CAC score. So thank you for agreeing with me, chat. I hate it when you agree. I should put in there, act like an adversary. Oh, I do love this. It said, hey, here's some Andy options, because I talk to it all the time. So it's like, let me give it to you the way Andy likes to hear it. I'm like, yes, talk to me in my third person, because that's how it works. And so it basically said, try different things and journal it. It's, stay the course, journal it. Modify your diet, journal it. Medical route, journal it. But I agree, you should journal the things and see how, and test things that are tracked and measured, get action and results. So track and measure and journal. All right, if you want to hear a blood work podcast, you can go on YouTube or listen to this podcast. So it's 227 pre-diabetic and carnivore blood work. Then 217 Ken Daniels, the blood sugar chef, and his diet. 208, lower your blood pressure and extend your functional life expectancy. 204, possible ways to lower your A1C blood sugar. Not a doctor, just a guy. 161, blood work, full report and analysis. So you'll catch a couple of those. That's 15 years of carnivore and lion diet, 11 weeks. So you'll see some early numbers. Anyway, it's been an interesting journey for me on this diet, mostly for Evan, but I've enjoyed it, which is weird. I would say to my 50-year-old buddies, 50-plus-year-old buddies, if you think you're good, you're probably not. Don't think it. Go get checked. And, man, come to the gym with me. Do some stuff with me. Hike up the mountain with me. If you can't keep up, I mean, it's not bad. Not many people can. That didn't sound right. I am such... So I like to be humble. I accidentally made it into the CrossFit Games semifinals. And do I care? Not really. But it is interesting to say, hey, this stuff pays off. Of the people out there in the world doing that, the best of the best of the best, CrossFitters, I happen to accidentally float to the top. I won't be able, I fully expect to do the semifinals and get rock bottom, but whatever, I don't really care. The point that I want to make there is, one, be humble about your stuff, but two, do and try. Sometimes practice pays off, right? Same thing with this. Find a few things that you would like to try and take them one at a time and make notes. You don't have to, actually, I would really recommend not changing things immediately. Like, oh, my LDL went from 300 to 150 in a day. I mean, you probably just killed something. You probably did something really bad. Actually, you know what? Let me check these other tabs I had pulled up to see what else I wanted to say in case I forgot. I think I got it all. Yeah, the biggest thing is, if you're a 50-year-old guy, statistically, everyone says, I'm okay. Actually, that's a great question. I should ask ChatGPT, see if it could pull information in there. Is pride the biggest killer of men? Probably the answer is yes. So I don't really care about, I honestly don't care what you do. I just want you to live. This is America. Here's how I stand on this. It doesn't cost you anything to be nice. Sometimes being a dick is tough. Just be nice. There's literally a gym that moved in next to me. It's changed owners and they have different dealings and whatever. I don't know. I've met them. Everyone's okay. The new guy's okay. The old guy, we didn't get along very well, but that's to be expected. But I believe in choice. There's a gym, the car dealership right next to you, whatever. There's a business right next to you. Should I be fearful and let their actions push on anything that I do. No, this is America. If you want to buy a Ford or a Honda and those businesses are right next to each other, that's one of the best things about this. I tell my kids all the time, high school is a prison. You have to go. You can't even choose your friends. It's only the ones there, and it's still the ones usually that are in your classes. So it's a prison. When you get to college, it gets a little bit better. Like at UGA, 40,000 kids, you can probably get lost, but you're probably going to choose a fraternity and some sort of friend group. And so you're going to have to do these things. As an adult, except for maybe at work, you can tell everyone to F off. You just don't even care. You don't have to be around dicks. I have changed and migrated friendships based on who they appeared to be and, more importantly, who they needed in their life, and it wasn't someone like me. I am a glasses half full. Let's have energy. Let's go. Let's do. I am a nerd. I love the geeky stuff. I love exercise. I love adventure. I am a very awkward person. My normal mode is humor. My backup mode is humor. So it's hard to tell when I'm stressed. I want there to be choice. When you become an adult, you get the ultimate of choice. Do you need to listen to me? Do you need to win this argument of diet? No, I don't care. My big thing is I want you to be around for your grandkids or your kids or whatever, right? So my why, I don't really talk about this one as much, but I should. The why on my heart, why I do the things I do is I want to be around and be healthy and fit enough and liked enough to be able to coach my kids in soccer. Now, does it have to be soccer? No. But it's the mental picture of my kids like me, their kids like me. We're getting along. We're all healthy. I can move. They can move. We're out doing things together. We have those 5 things: how you eat, sleep, move, think, and connect, right? We're putting those together. So what does that look like? I mean, it kind of looks like what I look like now. I am trying to soften some edges of dorky jokes. I love the joke at the gym when they're like, hey, it's CrossFit open time. I need a judge. I'm like, hey, we're from the South. We got all sorts of judges. They'll judge you. Don't tell them they're going to heaven or hell. And so there's a joke in there that I haven't perfected, but nobody likes it. I think it's funny. So I stopped saying it because nobody likes it. So I learned, I've got some materials. I do also know this: as I grow up, I learned how valuable it is to have people in your life that care. Sometimes it's so valuable to say, I will be the person that hates that other person for you so that you can get over it and move on. Just know that I hate them. Do I really? I don't know. I just let them know that somebody else is putting that negative emotion in so they can let it go. I want you to be around for your people. I also don't want you to just take drugs but that's on you. So if you need help, most of you guys know my cell phone number. Give me a call. It's actually on my website. I'm not the best at answering my phone because I have it on silent and I don't turn notifications on. So I usually see the text and then I realize I need to go do something with that. Send me an email, send me a text, give me a call, see me at the gym. I'm happy to help you and talk to you. Do I have all the answers? No, but I have the beginning of questions, and the questions are good. Denny and I sat down for a while, and it was great. I said, well, do you eat refined carbs? And he's like, no. And his wife, Lisa's making a face, and he's like, wait, what? And so then he's like, oh, you know what? I did have that thing. And so that's what I'm trying to talk about. You don't know until you track and measure it and put a fine point on it. When you track and measure it, you're going to be like, well, damn, I eat a lot of Twinkies. And Twinkie is just my word for things that aren't food that you're going to eat because it tastes good. So they hit that bliss point. The engineers made it taste right. You'll realize all the Twinkies that are out there. I literally only eat eggs and some sort of meat. It's usually some sort of steak and then ground beef. I know you're thinking, but Andy, that's expensive. I mean, it could be, but my chickens make my eggs, so that's kind of free, not really. And I don't have any leftovers, so I literally eat everything. The refrigerator, I have one of the vegetable drawers is my drawer for all of my food. That's it. And it always gets eaten. I never have leftovers and I never have stuff spoil. Actually, if it spoils, I cook it and give it to the dogs, which, I mean, it doesn't usually, if it's really spoiled and smells, I throw that away or give it to the chickens. They'll eat it. They eat everything. They're like Mikey. All right, guys. Hey, Woodstock, CrossFit Garage, here to help, fitness, food, and finance, all that good stuff. I don't want your money. I want you to be healthy. I will, if you track and measure your food for 2 weeks, I'll help you for an hour for free. But you're going to see the things you do and realize how dumb it is, and you'll stop it. Y'all take care.